yeah.
I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won.
Yeah, man.
I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won.
Yeah.
I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Good day, Charles. I'm going to go ahead and do the opening to get you talk a little bit about the golf tournament. It was nice to get the birds chirping, nice swings, ping of the golf ball. I know you just was in hog heaven. I thought you got excited with baseball, but I think something about the green that you got is a little different now.
Oh, man, I tell you what, it is a gorgeous golf course. They're here at the SWAC Golf Championships here in Birmingham, Alabama, at the Oxmoor Valley Golf Course. But it's truly a beautiful golf course, great golf course setting, and should sort of make for a very interesting SWAC championship tomorrow. Tomorrow, the final day, you have maybe 5 strokes that separate Arkansas Pine Bluff from Florida A&M, with Texas Southern sandwiched in between. Texas Southern had a tremendous day today out on the golf course. They had a couple of guys who shot an even par, and then one individual shot 300 today. So they really vaulted up the leaderboard today. So on the men's side, it's going to make things very interesting. Prairie View started to kind of separate themselves from the pack. They're 16 strokes up on the women's side. But tomorrow should be fun. It is a really challenging golf course. A lot of undulation on the greens, very hilly. It's going to test people's stamina tomorrow. I think that's one of the things kind of everybody was talking about just in terms of walking this course today was just everyone talking about this. This is going to test you tomorrow. So,
Dave, I know you on the e-gaming, but you know a little bit of all of this. Did you hear him use his golf terminology?
Yeah, man. I was totally impressed.
Looking forward to it. The initial broadcast on SWAC TV tomorrow.
That should be great.
Congratulations. That should be great. You have me tuning in just because you brought it to my attention and you don't be on the call. So I certainly want to be on there. I would not be critiquing, Charles. You don't have to worry about
Thank you. Thank you. We have as many cameras as we have, but we need a little more. So. But it's going to be great. They've done a great job, I think, of attempting to tell the story tomorrow, and we're going to try to bring that to all the golf fans in the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
So who's on the leaderboard for the men?
On the leaderboard for the men, you have Arkansas Pine Bluff. They currently sit atop the leaderboard. They're at plus 10 as a team. Texas Southern plus 14 as a team. Florida A&M right there at plus 15 as a team. And Alabama State, they sit right now over 2 days plus 20. But, anything can happen. So I was talking with their coach today, and they don't feel like they're out of it by any means. So he knows he has a couple of guys who can really shoot under par and can put a lot of pressure. So you're going to see some guys take some chances tomorrow with regards to some shot making to try to vault themselves into contention. And that's what's going to make it fun, because this is the golf course. It can punish you for being too aggressive.
So who's on the leaderboard for the women?
On the leaderboard for the women, let me pull it up. You have Prairie View.
You said Prairie View. That's all you need to say.
No, it said that's all
Just leave it there. And it was a lot of
he missed all clues, didn't it?
I know, right? Stop right there, huh?
Yeah. All right, Prairie View at it again, boy.
It's like 20. It was like you said.
Started off with volleyball, football, basketball tournament. Now you got a little women's golf. Well, I tell you, it's not a bad.
Yeah.
Obviously, some other teams are getting it done in terms of the top of the leaderboard with Alabama State. We'll get into a little bit of baseball, but today we're going to do Shuri's Not Dead. We're going to concentrate on some softball. With that being said, let me say welcome to episode 801 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports, for institutions large and small, as we like to say, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta, Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Today we have David L. Rhodes driving the bus. You can catch him on Wednesday in terms of the independent report for HBCU Sports Lab. He also covers and provides updates with his partner for the Carolina Panthers of the NFL. And then they do some mix-up in terms of independent MEACs and just having some fun with your other show. What's the framing of how you all are tidying that show now, David?
I don't know what it's going to be called when it's all said and done, to be honest with you. Like, it's been MD all this time, but him hasn't been around for over a month, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to get him back on the show at some point.
Okay, I was just checking. I was going to tell him I need him a little bit. I was going to do like they talk about these parts, taking Mike out of the title. We're going to rearrange some things and just let star David do his thing.
Yeah, the show called D wouldn't be good, so I have to change the entire name and start all over. And like if I got to do this thing on my own, but we'll see.
Yeah, you might get some ban if you do.
You ain't lying.
Yeah, they be like, huh, what? Might drive the wrong people to the show. Yeah. But I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with co-host Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KCWH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer. For those that don't know, that's multi-Hall of Fame historic sports newscaster Ralph Cooper, the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency, LLC. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting, educational, consulting, and data analytics. With that being said, let's get back into it. I'm going to go to you, Dave, since Charles is skinning and grinning in terms of being out there with the luscious greens and providing all that commentary of golf, including the undulations. What's on your mind, Dave?
Some sad news coming out of Greensboro. North Carolina A&T football player dies in a motorcycle crash.
Yeah.
From HBCUsports.com, a North Carolina A&T football player died over the weekend in a tragic motorcycle crash Saturday evening on I-40. According to multiple reports, Kelvin Broadhurst Jr. was pronounced dead at the scene after his Ducati motorcycle left the roadway on I-40 East and struck a guardrail. The Greensboro Police Department said the incident occurred at approximately 4:57 p.m. as Broadhurst attempted to navigate the ramp to 29 South. According to police, Broadhurst lost control of the vehicle, veered left, and struck the guardrail. He was ejected from the motorcycle and pronounced dead at the scene. No other vehicles were reported to be involved. The university confirmed that he was an active member of the A&T football program. Defensive lineman appeared in 28 games for A&T, recording 13 tackles and 1.5 sacks. Prior to his collegiate career, he was a standout athlete at Dorman High School in South Carolina, where he recorded 43 tackles, including 6 for loss and 3 sacks his senior season. Broadhurst was expected to add depth along the Aggies defensive line. He also was lauded as a solid reputation for being strong in the classroom. An investigation into the crash remains ongoing. A couple things, man. He's also a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. They're doing a memorial for him today. I believe it started at 7:00 tonight. So I never met this young man. I do know he was an electrical engineering major. He was made in McNair. You know, he's a senior. So it's very tough. Very tough. Aggie program's reeling a little bit on this one.
Yeah, it certainly was appropriate that you got a chance to acknowledge and provide the framework. We have a custom on this show where we do not just talk about sports and the players and the culture. We actually announce those tragedies, and we like to take a moment of silence on behalf of Kelvin Broadhurst Jr. With that being said, certainly want to change the page, but we have prayers for you, David. Obviously, the fraternity, Aggie land, and all those out there, and most importantly, his family. Prayers to all of them that they have to deal with this tragic situation. Let me go back to you, Charles, and add some other news that you want to get into before we turn it back to Dave and take our first break. What else is on your mind?
Sure thing, and this comes to us from SWAC.org, but Jackson State, they claimed the women's regular season tennis title. The Jackson State women's tennis team shut out Alcorn Lady Braves in a 4-0 decision on Saturday afternoon to end the season undefeated in SWAC play, earning their third straight regular season championship as Victoria Lankowski and Helen Hernandez began the day with a 6-1 doubles win at number one. Then the team of Daniela Tovar and Tiara Alvarez fell in a close 7-6 loss to Zoe Cornell and Ohan Lopez, put in the spotlight on a point-clinching matchup at number two. In a back-and-forth match, Isabella Benavidez and Paula Corbalon pulled out the win in a 7-6 decision to secure the doubles point. So Jackson State, they're going to open the SWAC tournament in New Orleans this coming Friday with a matchup against number 8 Mississippi Valley. That will start things off April 17th at 9 a.m. with the winner advancing to the semifinals to face either the number 4 or Southern team or the number 5 team, Florida A&M.
Congratulations, Jackson State. I saw you got that out there, Charles.
I did.
Take that. Your chance a little bit. Maybe your folks will tell you doing enough work for them. Sometimes they question you at times. I tell you, they're going to take your call quick enough.
I know. I better say something about Jackson State.
We just try to give a little bit of the news around here, a little update, but folks question y'all, man.
Itching to take my call.
We want to make sure you get no trouble. What else is on your mind? You want to share some other stuff?
This is off topic a little bit, but I wanted to give a quick shout out to the Aggie eSports team. I was down there over the weekend to check out their big Aggie Universe event that they did. They did some video game tournaments. I had my son with me. He got humbled real fast in Mario Kart. They got a really great group of folks down there. They're trying to set up more teams. I told them I'm going to send them some more donations, get some accessories for them. But I wanted to shout them out because they did an outstanding job. They had a cosplay contest. They had folks dressing up in characters. It was an amazing event. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Aggie Esports.
What games are they playing?
Well, for this tournament, they did Tekken 8, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So like and they're gonna probably they had a Call of Duty team at one point as well, and they have a Rocket League team that won a championship. So they have a lot of good teams. I have friends that are still in the area that organizes tournaments across the Greensboro area and in the state. I'm trying to get them to do more fighting games because that's starting to grow a little bit, like Street Fighter 6 and things of that sort. And some of the older retro games are starting to make a comeback as well. So I'm trying to
inside the HBCU Sports Lab college football tournament.
Oh, listen, it's going to take forever, because those games take a long time, Charles. Like Mario Kart was longer than I thought because like they do an entire circuit for Mario Kart. They pick 4 random stages to
Okay.
race in. So it takes some time. And my son advanced past the first round in Mario Kart. And then they said first place is the only one that's going to advance, not the top two. And then it started getting cut pretty fast.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yep. But I wanted to shout them out because they did an outstanding job over the weekend.
We'll talk about some of this football news on Thursday with some of the release matchups that come out. Obviously, spring football. We'll get a little deeper dive on Thursday when we get into some of the baseball, mid-major, and major write-ups. But coming out of basketball, we do have a hire that's come out of here that people have heard about at Alabama State. They had a chance today to officially announce to the Hornet Nation. Today, we officially introduce our men's basketball coach, Chris Wright. He is a coach that we follow here in terms of HBCU sports, going back to his days at Talladega, where he went to a championship. And then, obviously, most recently, with a lot of folks that caught on board and certainly were following him there at Langston, where he had 2 final championship game appearances. That's 2 in the last 3 years, including this year. So Chris Wright is now the head coach. Moving from NIA to Division I should be interesting. Certainly has had success at his other 2 stops. So a lot of folks are comfortable. And the slogan that they're using with the T-shirt that was unveiled, the right way, Alabama. So I thought that was pretty clever. So we'll see where that's going. President who's cited up there. Obviously, Vice President of Athletic, Dr. Cavil, was doing his thing. They had a full house in terms of those. Cape for the right way. Chris Wright, head coach, he gave a statement and was really upfront. You heard with the interview with HBCU Sports in terms of him not ignoring the elephant in the room, particularly becoming essentially the first white or European American head coach of a basketball program on the men's side in the SWAC. Obviously, there's been coaches at FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, but that was prior to them joining the SWAC, just for historical purposes for those who may realize that. But he talked about understanding HBCUs, obviously getting a front course lecture on HBCUs coming out of Talladega and Langston. And then he did a really significant job putting front-facing and understanding what HBCUs have done for this country. So I think in terms of winning the opening media cycle, he certainly has done that. And now the work gets done. He was there with his family, wife, and son. Obviously very emotional for all involved. So credit to Alabama State. It'd be interesting to see because basketball, particularly this past year, obviously you do have some exits, but the conference was super competitive, really deep. It'll be interesting to see with these new coaches coming in, a couple of coaches in the vanguard. People are going to be jostling, trying to make their moves, and we'll see what this looks like in terms of if he continues the style of play he played at Langston. It's certainly going to be exciting and bring some of the old heads that like a little faster pace of basketball play. It should be interesting to see if he's able to do that and should bring some additional excitement in the conference. So we'll take our first break, come back on the other side, and get back into softball, baseball, in terms of the Dirt Diamonds out there, and give you an update on the top 5 mid-major week number 5. We'll do that right after this first break.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a state, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269. or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell them mama hungry.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with David L. Rhodes and Charles Bishop. We have the professors in the building, but let's get into the talk. Let's get into looking at week number 5 in the mid-major poll rankings and see what these gentlemen think as things continue to move forward. Start to close out things for the SIAC at the Division II level, as well as CIAA and NAIA for that matter. But we didn't have any team dropping out this week. So as we pull that up, we can get into those receiving votes. As we get into receiving votes, you will see Edward Water Tigers sitting at 22-17, 13-8 overall with 28 points. We have Stillman Tigers sitting at 20-18 with 16 points. 16-2, I should say, in terms of the conference record, 21 points. It's Edward Waters out of the SIAC, Stillman Tigers out of the HBCU AC. That's the NCAA Division II and NAIA levels. Let's look at the top 5 as we see Dave is working to try to pull that up. Glassman Tigers out of the CIAA, lone representative out of the CIAA. 14-11 and 15-1, as you see it rolling off there. 32 points, 5th position. They stay perfectly there. Let's go to number 4. Your Dillard Blue Devils sit at 19-11, 16-2 with 39 points, and they stay in the 4th position. Doesn't look like we have a lot of changes here. We'll see as we continue to number 3 with Savannah State Tigers out of the SIAC. Improved to 24-13 overall and 14-7 in terms of what they did at the conference level. 43 points, sit at the 3rd position. Number 2, we get into also the SIAC. Albany State Golden Rams, 29-6, right at that 30-win mark. Impressive season no matter what. They're 17-4. 2 first-place votes, 59 points at number 2 position. Number 1, Tuskegee Golden Tigers, 29-7, 18-1. 5 first-place votes, 67 points, reign at the number 1 ranking. Not a lot of changes in the poll this week. Everybody continues to win and get it done. So Tuskegee Golden Tigers remain in the number 1 spot for week number 5, second consecutive week since we publicly announced the poll rankings. I'm going to go with you first, Charles. What are your thoughts in terms of the mid-major for softball poll rankings in week number 5?
I mean, I think it's right on point. When you take a look at Tuskegee through Claflin, the most impressive thing that I've seen out of this poll, especially taking a look at Tuskegee, 10-0 over the last 10 games, and out of those 10, they've run rule team 4 times. So they're playing some dominant softball right now.
Yeah, when you run rule, folks, that's a big statement. You do it 4 times, and you're perfect doing a 10 stretch. That's pretty good softball. I would
And then the other, that's like 3 out of the other 6. You know, they're up by 10 or more runs. So I was like, oh, what happened to the run rule there? So, but
because he put it out late in the game. They just keep scoring on you, rolling the punches. The other thing that's fascinating here, as I go to you, David, and get your thoughts, is Tuskegee and Albany State, even though they play in the divisions, they happen to play because there's one crossover game, and it happened to be Tuskegee and Albany State. Tuskegee took 2 out of 3. So they have the head-to-head matchup with the second best team, at least according to the poll rankings.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, what are your thoughts in terms of the mid-major division? Notice the top 3 teams out of the SIAC. You do get a team out of the CIAA, but it's the team further south. And then you have Dillard getting some love for the NIA programs. Your thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, I like this 5. I wonder what's going on with the CIAA. They only have 1 team in the 5, right? But outside of that, Tuskegee's been dominant, so you can't be angry at them being number 1. It's going to be interesting to see if those Tuskegee and Albany State, when they get into the postseason, it's going to be interesting to see when they play each other for the championship. Because I think it's looking like it's probably going to be in those 2 teams. So
yeah, that would be a beautiful game for Tuskegee and Albany State to face off in the championship matchup. They probably will be number 1 coming into the tournament in terms of the division, so they will be on the opposite side. But you do have the spoiler there with Savannah State.
Yeah.
You know what happens in the SIAC. Oftentimes on the women's side of things, though, we don't get as much chaos as we tend to see on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating to kind of keep our eyes on that as we get ready for tournament play, crown these division champions, and get ready to see who takes home the tournament trophy. With that being said, let's take our second break. We'll come on the other side. Then it'll be time to look at softball at the major division and see if we have any upheaval there. A little tease. I think there's some changes at the top. We'll see if that's the case and see what your thoughts are with the changes from both Dave and Charles. We'll be right back after this next break.
From cancer care to accidental injuries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life. But with Globe Life Family Heritage, you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com. With over 25 years of serving communities, Dr. Beverly Eagles Rogers is here to help you and your family through difficult times. Dr. Beverly takes pride in Globe Life being one of the few companies that returns 100% of premiums to clients that stay healthy. So for more information, call Dr. Beverly Eagle Rogers at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at globelifefamilyheritage.com.
And we have to fund our kids in these colleges, and we have to make sure our kids have seats in these colleges.
Now, what about HBCUs? You mentioned.
Absolutely. You got to fund them all, and you got to make sure they're properly funded. You know, the real reason why I went after Comcast and Charter, it didn't have anything to do with my cable networks. It didn't. What happened was a gentleman wanted to do the Black College Sports Network in partnership with the HBCUs. And Comcast did not accept it. And that would have made a lot of money for these black colleges.
Absolutely.
And it would have educated the Black College Sports Network. This is what he wanted to do. That would have educated a lot of black kids. And when they didn't do that, that's when I came off the bench and said, okay, I'm going to light you up like a Christmas tree. Okay. That was the real reason why I got into it, was when I saw what happened with the Black College Sports Network, which I don't own. I just knew.
Why didn't you buy it?
I just knew. I just knew that these black.
I like that talk.
All right. I knew that these black colleges were going to benefit, and these black kids were going to get the education that they deserved and not have to pay.
There's a shot. It could be.
Right field, grand slam! What a shot! That's how you get hot, young fella.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. And all you guys at BCSN, we really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Charles Bishop and David L. Rhodes. With that being said, we're going to get into week 5 for the major division of softball, giving you those top 5. We did have a team drop out at the major division level. It was Norfolk State Spartans that were representing the MEAC at 18-17. 8-7 had a tough weekend where they got swept this past weekend. So 4 straight losses. So you're talking about playing some really good softball and hitting the skid. We'll see next week, maybe, are they able to get some things going and turn things around. Let's see about receiving votes. They do stay within the receiving votes, but they all the way fall to the bottom, with Jackson State Tigers sitting still outside of the top 5. I know there were some concerns last weekend. We'll see what teams did above and who jumped in there and why. Jackson State Tigers had a tough week, 20-18, 11-6. They had a chance to really make a move. Bethune-Cookman caught them. Tough matchup when you talk about the East Division. There was conversation appropriate of how tough the East was, but didn't work out for the Jackson State Tigers, which keeps them outside of the top 5, 20-18, 11-6. You have South Carolina State Bulldogs sit at 13-13, didn't have the strongest week themselves, but they fought through it and found a way to stay with outside of the top 5, if you would, essentially at that 7th spot. 11-4 in conference play, ahead of Norfolk State Spartans that are still receiving votes overall, 18-17, 8-7, 50 points. So just outside of that top 5. Usually look at the top 2 outside, but decided to share with you where Spartans have failed to. So let's get into the top 5. See what your thoughts on this. Texas Southern Tigers, they sneak in the top 5 just above Jackson State at number 5, 23-10, 12-6, got back to their winning ways. Obviously, they were not ranked last week, 69 points, but they jump in to the top 5 power rankings, if you would. At number 4, Southern Jaguars are playing some really good softball at this point, 27-12. Still chasing a little bit behind Prairie View, but they sit at 13-5 in conference. Probably playing the best softball of the year thus far, 73 points. Still have that big, exciting wins that they got over Texas Southern. They stay at the 4th spot, however. Bringing us to number 3. Probably the surprise of the week, FAMU. Not that they lost, but they lost a series. FAMU Rattlers fall to 23-16, 14-14, which caused them to drop out of the number 1 spot. They do keep one first place vote, 79 points, but they've dropped to number 3 in the week number 5. Bring us number 2. Prairie View, that was behind FAMU, stays at number 2, now ahead of FAMU. 22-14, they are rolling in the West, 14-1. 3 first place votes, so they didn't gain anything there. 82 points, and they stay at the 3 spot. I take that back. They did gain 1 first place vote there. Number 1 now, Howard Bison, lone MEAC team, but they're at the top, 19-13, 8-1. They do have some wins over some SWAC teams, but they have losses as well. 5 first place votes, but they're dominating in the MEAC. 8-1, as you see in conference play. 19-13, 85 points. Previous ranked 2, but they slide up this week after FAMU's tough week. Got enough to get over Prairie View. It was rolling, but Howard is number 1, sliding up from the 2 spot. in week number 5. I'll go with you, David. What are your thoughts in terms of softball, top 5 poll rankings, if you would, in week number 5?
This tracks. It's another. Well, at least this time, the MEAC school is. Last time we had the CIAA only having one team in the 5. Now we got a MEAC school in the top 5. But I think Howard's softball team has been consistently good over the past few years with Coach Tyson there. So they've been pretty consistent when it comes to that. So shout out to them. That ranking is warranted. I know South Carolina State sometimes try to sneak up on them, but I think this squad is very dominant. And Prairie View's doing what they need to do within their conference as well. So within the SWAC as well. So shout out to both programs. I'm not mad at this top 5 at all.
Yeah.
Charles, where are you going with the top 5? What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
last week, but this week is new. Where are you this week?
No, I echo Dave's sentiments. I think Howard is the top ranked team. When you take a look at what they've done over the past few games, bit surprising. Florida A&M dropping to the Alabama State. Did not see that coming, especially in Tallahassee this past weekend. Especially when you take a look at what Florida A&M was able to do when they went to Montgomery. They took 2 or 3 from Alabama State back then. But I think you touched on it. I think no team is playing probably better softball in the conference right now than Southern. So they could be a scary out, especially as we speed toward the softball tournament at the end of this month.
Yes, let me give you a little bit of resume in terms of the HBCU programs. I'm like sneaking some of the other mid-major programs, if you would. FAMU started off in the Campbell Stampede tournament. And in the tournament, they played Tennessee Tech, Campbell. They went 3-2 in that overall tournament. They played FAMU twice, lost to them the first time 4-6, was able to pick up the win the following day, 12-10. They also had played in the HBCU Collegiate Invitational, which I get a kick out of because you have a lot of the HBCUs play in there. They got to play 5 HBCU games in that. Of those 5, 4 of them were out of the SWAC. One is the independent, North Carolina A&T. They went 3 of 4. The final game was canceled. Got a little weather council there. First one was over Alabama A&M, where they run ruled them, as we talked about earlier, 11-1 in 5 innings. They lost to Southern, 5-8. Southern team that's really hot now, so something to think about with the poll rankings maybe as things continue to go. Texas Southern, they defeated Texas Southern, that's in the top 5, 7-4. They also defeated North Carolina A&T 4-2. So they got they are, what is that? 2-1 again, 3-1, against teams in the top 5. So just wanted to share a little bit of that. So I think you all in line with what you said in terms of the poll rankings, in terms of the damage there. Any additional thoughts now that you've heard some of these matchups, Charles?
You still take a look for me, the strength SWAC they beating up on each other over there, and then you got Prairie View sitting out there. Like where I guess where does the balance tip with regards to looking at the softball rankings? Do you have a strong team over there in the West that's just better than everybody over there in the SWAC East? So it remains to be seen as we go to the SWAC tournament.
You said yes, Dave, so go ahead and chime back in.
No, I agree with what Charles is saying. Like, I think Howard now is in a different, like, I think there's a lot, like, I think the coach, if I remember correctly, the coach got fined for because of a Player of the Week award or got reprimanded or something to that effect. Because I guess there was enough of a player that got in and she felt the way about it. And typically there's a point where the squad just goes on a tear, and I think they're there right now. So I'm gonna still say Howard's won, and not to discredit Prairie View because going 14-1 in the conference up to this point is impressive. And so it'll be interesting, man. And Southern is hot. If Southern starts getting hot, they could be dangerous in the tournament as well. So it's interesting to see how this pans out.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun in the SWAC tournament for sure. I
talk about the strength of the SWAC East, but you got 3 teams in the SWAC West sitting in the poll. So
yeah.
They're pretty good. Great points there. I want to talk a little bit about Texas Southern as they played in that HBCU Invitational. I'm going to do this for Southern and Prairie View, just to close out this segment. Texas Southern played there, and they got all 5 of their games in. No, I'm sorry, they got 4 of the 5 in as well. They started out against North Carolina Central, where they went 9-1. They also defeated South Carolina State 11-4. They did, as I told you, lost that game to Howard 4-7. They defeated Hampton 14-10, and the game against A&T was canceled in terms of that matchup. So wanted to share a little bit about what that looks like. Let's look at Prairie View in terms of, well, let's do, as that gets going. I'm not sure if they played in the tournament there.
I don't think they did.
Yeah, so I wanted to sneak in Southern actually, because last year they played pretty well. They didn't go back this year. So I want to go to Southern and get them in there because in terms of Prairie View, their matchup with Southern, they swept Southern early this year, just to keep your eyes on that for those that wanted to get into a little bit of that thought process there. Southern is what they did in the Leonard Moody HBCU Invitational. They did, as I said, defeated Howard 8-5. That's their big win. They played Claflin, that is ranked in the top 5 for the mid-majors. They defeated them 7-4. They defeated A&T 4-1. Defeated Maryland Eastern Shore 11-3. That was a 6-inning called game. And the game that they had against Albany, which is also ranked top 5, was canceled. So give you those lab watchers a little bit of insight in terms of what it looks like in terms of the major division teams going down the stretch. It's going to be fascinating to see. Can Howard hold on to the #1 ranking? Will the West continue to dominate the poll rankings? Will the East fight themselves back into it? Or will they kind of crumble and beat up on each other, particularly where it looks like now that Bethune-Cookman has gotten back in the mix? So some ways you might say the East is 4 deep. Alabama State was the one that got the wins over Jackson State, surprising everybody. So that gets you challenged when you think maybe Alabama State is going to get back in the business as well. So the East is intriguing. West is as well. We'll see if Howard can dominate and continue to hold on to MEAC. With that being said, let's take our last break. We'll come back on the other side, talk about some key matchups, baseball as well as softball. Keep your eyes and get your thoughts on that. Might get a little talk in terms of these new facilities. Everybody's getting happy because they're getting turf and different things. Charles, you know, they're going to help you play a little better. It'll make you look good out there. We'll see. That being said, we'll take a last break and come back on the other side.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube, Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center. an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a law, and who the ball, So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Before we get into some of these key matchups for softball and then baseball, Charles, let me give you the standings in terms of the East. Give you what they did this past weekend in terms of losing streaks or win streaks. Let's look at those top 6 teams. You got Valley, who's struggling mightily, 0-18, 1-32. They've lost 25 straight games. So, yeah, it's tough down what's going on over there in the Delta. You have Alabama A&M. They are 6-12, 19-25. They did win 3 straight in those matchups against probably Valley. Alabama State sitting at 10-7, 16-27. They've won 2 straight games in terms of their matchups. You have Bethune-Cookman, 11-7, 15-25 overall, winning 2 straight games. Jackson State had a tough weekend, 11-6, 2018. They lost 3 straight, but think about this. They still sit in the second spot to let you know how well they were playing. So they have a chance to really bounce back, and we'll talk about that matchup. You have FAMU sitting at the top, 2 games in the loss column, lead over Jackson State, 3 over Bethune-Cookman with 7 losses. Again, they're 14-4, 23-16 overall. They did lose 2 straight that narrowed that gap they had there, commanding the East. We'll see what that means this next week coming up. In the West, you have Alcorn State. The Braves sit at 1-14 in conference play, 13-27. They've lost 4 straight. Grambling State sits at 14-13, 12-23. They lost 3 straight. Arkansas Pine Bluff just 4-9, 11-22, and they've lost 4 straight. Now the teams that are winning, they're commanding the West. You start with Texas Southern, 12-6, 23-10 overall. They've won 3 straight. Southern sits at 13-5. A little bit of probably a surprise there. Not that they are at the top of the conference in the West, if you would, but they big victories over Texas Southern, sitting at second spot with 5 straight wins. Prairie View sits at 14-1, 22-14, won 3 straight, pretty much commanding lead at this point, at least in the West, which means we have a couple of key matchups that we should keep our eyes on. Prairie View is hosting Alcorn State. With a little bit of rain, you've noticed a little bit of flipping the schedules. Usually they play the doubleheaders on Saturday. Try to make sure you get as many games as possible. They're going to play a doubleheader on Friday and try to get one in on Saturday. So that's a matchup. Prairie View in that 2 spot. They take on the Braves. Then you have the rivalry matchup, Southern and Grambling. They have the matchup there. They'll play the one on Saturday and then get 2 of them on Saturday. So you have number 4 ranked Southern Jaguars, according to our release today. They will be on the road against Grambling. Can they follow the lead of what the baseball team did in some competitive matchups? But they brought out the boom. They went up north and swept Grambling on the baseball side. I think that surprised a lot of folks. Not that they were able to get some victories up there, but sweeping Grambling on baseball. Can the Lady Jaguars continue the momentum they have and get it done against Grambling? Then you have Florida A&M against Valley. FAMU, obviously, 3 ranked things. The way Valley is struggling, shouldn't have any problem there. So that's a matchup where you'll see 1 on Friday and then 2 on Saturday. Bethune-Cookman and Alabama State, I think this is probably the matchup to keep your eyes on.
That's the one.
Teams that are sitting in the Eastern Division, Charles. And obviously you have those teams sneaking up and trying to put themselves in a position and wreak havoc at those teams at the top. You have Jackson State at Alabama A&M in terms of that matchup. See a lot of surprises there, but want to kind of roll that out for you all. Is that the matchup you're looking most at, Charles, in terms of Alabama State and Bethune-Cookman?
Yeah, Alabama, Bethune-Cookman traveling to Alabama State. Both teams coming off of an impressive series. Bethune-Cookman taking 2 or 3 from Jackson State, and Bama State taking 2 or 3 from FAMU. So that's the one that intrigued me going into this weekend.
Conference positioning.
David, what are your thoughts in terms of that matchup? Obviously, conference positioning there. Anything else you thoughts about why that matchup will be important this weekend?
They could end up second potentially. If somebody sweeps the series, they could probably potentially end up second, depending on what happens between Jackson State and Alabama A&M. So, because both of them have 7 losses. Alabama State's played 1 less game, so you could jump up in the standings pretty significantly if depending on how things fall between Jackson and Alabama A&M.
You got that midweek game tomorrow with Howard. They've won 12 straight. They do go over to College Park to play Maryland. Should be a tough one to be interesting to see. Can they pull out a win there? Then they have a home game stand where they play 2 on Friday and 1 on Saturday against Coppin State. So they should take care of business. Coppin State is just 7-8, 8-17 overall. But Coppin has won 6 straight.
Speaking of Coppin State, you know who they're playing before they run into Howard?
Who is that?
North Carolina A&T.
Oh, midweek game tomorrow?
They're doing a doubleheader tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, A&T's going to ride up. It's going to be in Baltimore. Riding up to Baltimore for it. We've done pretty well against the MEAC this year, so I think the only loss we've had was against Howard. We've swept UMass. We swept South Carolina State. We swept School down the road.
Oh, not that you're sweeping teams out of the MEAC.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing all right in the MEAC, just not in the CAA.
What a difference a conference makes. Huh?
You ain't lying, man. But we playing Coppin State doubleheader in Baltimore tomorrow.
Good
so
stuff.
I'm curious to see how that's going to go against Howard because they're playing a lot of consecutive games, man. So it's going to be interesting. With them going with Howard right after. So
baseball, obviously, we'll do the rankings there, but I think a little bit of the big shock this weekend to me. I want to get your thoughts on this, Charles, is what Southern was able to do to Grambling, particularly on the road. We talked about how important that series was. Would you have ever thought that Southern would have swept Grambling?
Not this season. No, not at all. Especially when you take a look at the way Grambling has been playing baseball, not just this season, but they've sort of become that baseball team in Louisiana. So you take your hat off to Southern for getting the sweep. I mean, especially you take a look at that Grambling lineup. Their first 4 hitters, they're probably as tough as anybody in the conference. But I've just taken a look at Grambling this past season. Pitching has been a real issue. And when the bats aren't coming through over the weekend, the pitching rears its ugly head. So take your hat off to the Jaguars. That was a big sweep this past weekend.
Dave, I know you'll get in probably a little bit more of this tomorrow, so you don't have to spell out everything. But in terms of the Aggies, this is a program coming out of the MEAC that probably had some of the best baseball they were playing in some time. First year in the CAA, they represented pretty well, but now things are kind of going the wrong direction. What are you hearing? What's some of the stuff going on with A&T baseball?
Pitching has been a challenge for them. And just like everybody else is dealing with the transfer portal, it's they can't keep talent there, and it's been a challenge. And part of it might be due to the stadium situation and things of that sort. Yeah. So right now we're 3-12 overall in the conference, 9-25 overall. 3-12 in conference, 9-25 overall. We're last in the conference. We're just not able to get bats. And this is the first season where the CAA is separated between the North and the South. So they have divisions now. So there's a North Division and a South Division to reduce the travel costs for the teams and things of that sort. But Campbell is doing Campbell things. They tend to be the cream of the crop when it comes to baseball. Yeah. They're 16-2, so we're behind the pack with regards to that. So
yeah, Campbell tends to have a legitimate mid-major program similar to Bethune-Cookman and the way they were taking the baseball to the next level. Probably a little deeper there, but I do want to ask you a question about the transfer portal, but I want to go back to baseball before I get into the transfer portal.
Yep.
That's going to play on A&T and just general in terms of HBCUs from a win-loss perspective. But the other eye that I have here that's I know it's just midway point, so let's take this for what it is. But the fact, if you cut off the tournament now and just had the top 8 teams, Jackson State would be out. But Valley would be in. I think that's the news. I don't want to focus too much on Jackson State. I think they'll get a chance. Hell of a series because they were right there with FAMU. Could have easily taken 2 or 3 of those games. One bad inning, literally, what 14 runs in the closing game?
14 runs.
Having a lead late in that game.
Yeah.
Walked off the first one. The second one was a close game. FAMU was able to get it done, and then this was a close game until 6th inning where it literally fell apart. But Valley getting the game against Bethune-Cookman,
that was huge.
Puts them in a position where they're a game ahead of Jackson State.
Yeah.
Sitting in the 8th spot right now. That, to me, is a story in itself. What are your thoughts in terms of Valley? We went in there saying, could they do the unthinkable? Maybe not. But for some, the unthinkable is the fact that they were able to get a game.
Yeah.
In that series. The other ones were point runs, but they got the one.
Yeah, but just taking a look at Valley, they are a decent team. They are not that Valley of old. They go out and they compete. As with everybody, pitching is, you got to have arms, but they go up there and they have good at bats. So I was really impressed. They took it to Texas Southern. The Texas Southern's offense is just, it is what it is. You're gonna catch it throwing pitches to Texas Southern this season, but Valley just from
I don't want to spoil that. We will talk about some of those players.
Yeah,
Texas Southern and who's at the top of the conference on Saturday, so I won't get too far in that. But you're right. Well, you talking about a team that can bat? Ooh,
yeah, they have great at bats. But I was very impressed. They had great plate discipline. They weren't just swinging at everything. They had a really good idea of having some good at bats, and they were able to put some runs up. So Valley, they were a very competent team. So I was very impressed.
Last thing here is I'll go over some of the matchups this weekend. And you can tell me from both of you. I'll start with you, Dave, and then Charles. You can tell me what captures your ear and what do you tell folks to kind of look at. We do have at least 2 of the games on SWAC TV, which is Alabama State at Jackson State, and you have Alabama A&M at Bethune-Cookman. Beside those 2 games that are on SWAC TV this weekend, you have Texas Southern at Pine Bluff, Mississippi Valley at FAMU. Normally you wouldn't hesitate on that one, but maybe.
You got to watch that one, man.
I agree. That's why I kind of tease it. I'm glad it's just not me. Southern at Alcorn. Southern has a chance to continue to get right and maybe make a little bit of a move. You got Prairie View at Grambling in terms of your key matchups this weekend. Dave, what are your thoughts? What stands out to you of those matchups? What you kind of teased and said keep your eyes on it, but is that the only one or a couple of other ones that you're saying, hey, I want to
Pine Bluff and Texas Southern is going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But Valley and FAMU is going to be fascinating because if Valley doesn't even have to win the series, right? If they can just catch a game. Now if they end up getting 2 of them,
oh yeah, they
cooking on grease then.
Man.
For some reason, Valley's had a habit of beating FAMU in some of these sports, so you never know with this situation.
That's true, dude. That's true, too.
Yeah,
that's true, dude. Particularly now that the football team is.
Oh man!
So I wasn't going to get into too much of that. I left that. But
Charles,
let me go to you because I do want to ask a question on transfer portal, which not necessarily that, but just in general. What key matchups are key to you this weekend?
Yeah, obviously Texas Southern going up to UAPB. I think when you take a look at that, that's a fascinating series. Both of those teams can really hit the ball. Texas Southern, UAPB 1-2 in terms of offense, but you take a look at UAPB and their pitching. They're second, right behind Bethune-Cookman. So very interesting to take a look at that UAPB team. And they kind of arrived last year. We saw that in the SWAC tournament. Where they play a really good brand of baseball under their new coach. But one of the things I really kind of pay attention to this upcoming weekend, UAPB just they don't have that signature series win against some of the top teams in the SWAC. So this is an opportunity for them to really turn heads this weekend with Texas Southern coming up to Pine Bluff. But that's going to be a fun series because both of these teams, if they can get to your starter, you're in trouble.
Yeah, they can make it painful.
Yeah.
They can make it painful. So yeah, that's a good one to keep your eyes on. With that being said, as I said, transfer portal. I know so much of the transfer portal is about the financial piece, rightfully so. Particularly when you start looking at your players that like are all conference or, freshmen of the year type status, offensive, defensive player, MVP. Those guys certainly, or ladies for that matter, often get a chance to get their second look. And they go in the transfer portal and they get a chance to get the bag. But you also see a lot of folks in the transfer portal. I'm curious, what do you think winning does as it pertains to the transfer portal? I would think it helps, but I'd like to get your opinion. Am I reaching a little bit too much of that? Or do you think a program that has the ability to win may not have, outside of what we already said, those key players, but in terms of depth and players that maybe shouldn't necessarily be in the portal?
Yeah.
Do you think they stay around a little more, or do you think they continue to take their chance in transfer?
I don't know. Just from listening to players in certain sports, playing time is that metric that weighs a little heavier than winning. And as to whether they're actually getting the lion's share of reps or if they're actually getting more time on the court, that is what is, I think, the thing that kind of weighs a little bit more heavy for a few players. I think winning is obviously, it's the deodorant that always makes everything better. But I don't know if we're still in that era. I think guys want to be out there on the air, be out there on the court, or be out there on the field.
And you follow that, and you get to talk to them a lot, so that's interesting. Dave, I'm coming to you now, and are you aligned with Charles, or do you have a different problem?
I think what I've seen so far, based on like the way, because A&T hasn't done much winning, but we've also seen some players make the decision to stick around because they like the culture of the institution. Like we had a kid on the basketball program prior to the season decided to redshirt, and he's coming back next year. He's like one of the only 4 basketball players that's returning from that roster. Everybody else is in the portal because they were looking at our guys. We only won 4 conference games. They were looking at our guys. And some of them are already starting to get signed. So I think that I think it's case by case from my perspective, because it all depends on how the kid was raised, what the expectations are, what their personal situation is going on. Because there's some have to go get the bag. They got other things going on. Like I literally during the spring game over the weekend, we were having the conversations about it, and then people were like, "How can we figure this out without paying these kids?" And I was like, "You're used to not winning too many games, guys, because we're in a conference where a lot of these players are getting paid. Like we're in a conference with a bunch of flagship institutions, and they are paying these players. Like Charleston's got a $3 million budget for basketball alone to pay these players. So we have to make decisions on what we want to do. It's just you have to compete." But I think that it is, from my perspective, it's case by case. Because I've seen kids that'll stick around even without the necessarily playing time because they like being there. They like the culture of the school and things of that sort. But then there's a lot of kids where if they had a decent year, like we had one kid that only averaged 8 points a game asking for $200,000. So it all depends. It all depends. It all
fascinating. One last one for you, Dave. And then Charles, you can decide you want to chime in it or give the last plug on golf. With that being said, do you think this era makes it more challenging for like Tennessee State, Hampton, A&T be what we refer to HBCU land independent, but be in conference, particularly for Hampton and Howard CA, with other conference members being able to pay significantly more in terms of the NIL bag versus before this new NIL era took place, being in the CFL.
Yeah, I think it's definitely tougher. But I think the first step is we made the decisions that we made in regards to moving to this conference. Even if we would have stayed in the Big South, we would have still had issues with High Point and basketball, right? Because they got a pretty big budget there too, right? So I think, and now even when you talk about the MEAC, Howard's no slouch. Howard, from an NIL perspective, is in the slouch. So you still would have to, if you want to win, you're still gonna have to put it in, right?
Yeah,
so you got. Yeah, you got to put it in. Like, you got to put it in to win. Like, if you're not investing in the programs, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
Like, that's the running joke I always say about CAA football right now. Is like, if you don't want to give to the program, you can't be mad at 2 conference wins. You just can't.
Well said. Drop the mic on that one. Charles, do you want to comment on that, or did you want to do a last plug, telling folks to tune in tomorrow for golf?
Oh, absolutely. Tune in to golf tomorrow in terms of catching the final round of SWAC Golf Championships. Like I said, I think on the men's side, you're going to see some dynamic golf being played because I think some teams are going to have to take a couple chances here and there. And you're going to be it's going to be risk reward on certain holes.
Good stuff. Let's check it out. I'll be watching where I can. Thank you for listening inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Glad we were able to get David L. Rhodes to join us today. We had AD Drew, but he is filming. I tried to see if he's going to be able to get him a little television sign. Do some production work for him, and as it's coming back, and they were using the athletic facility. Looks like they're filming one of the episodes that will feature them in terms of
that's huge
being on the football field. They rebranded it. We were able to get some pictures there. Pretty nice job in terms of the rebrand. Don't want to be a spoiler and put too much out there, but they did a good job with that. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday. So we'll be back on Thursday at 6 o'clock to give you the latest in the news. We'll crown some more champions. As Charles said, he'll be on the call tomorrow. We'll see if Prairie can hold on. We'll see on the men's side who can fight it out as they are tussling for that championship trophy. We look forward to Thursday as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattacavil. That's Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. As we close, I know some folks are still struggling out there. Prayers for them. Obviously, we're in a position in the country that a lot of folks are challenged and strange. We certainly don't want to act like we're so married to sports that we forget about them. Prayers and wishing you the best, particularly for safety. That being said, dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles.
Of course.
Dave.
Lecture.
Dismiss.